want to talk about Jed York now, because what I see is John Lynch is caught up in a personal battle that's very much about his pride and ego. And so there's a leadership vacuum here. Jimmy shouldn't be on this team, and the owner should step in. Like, this was before your time, but Eddie was a take charge, hands-on guy. Like, Jed is very hands-off. People got upset with him 10 years ago, but he really doesn't do anything anymore. Eddie would step in. Eddie would take it. It's my team. We're going to do this, X, Y, Z. He would be the leader here. And I feel like the Niners not going all in right now is a symptom of Jed. His hands-offness. He is before he came to this team, he was a financial analyst. He is not built like Eddie DeBartolo. Eddie DeBartolo was as competitive as John Lynch, Jerry Rice, Bill Walsh. I mean, to a fault at times. And when the last time the Niners won a Super Bowl, it was Eddie putting all the chips in the table along with his guys, McVay, and in the front office, and getting, all Deion Sanders, Ken Norton, the list goes on and on. That's how the Niners won their last Super Bowl. Eddie was very much at the center of it, saying, enough of losing to the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game. Enough of being one of the best teams in the league. Let's go win it. That's how they did it. And I just don't see that in Jed. And until he channels that side of his DNA, the Niners are going to be content being one of the best teams in the league, which is too bad. That's how I read it. Jed.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's a fair way to look at it. I just, I haven't interacted with any of these people, so it's tough for me to get a read on it. It could be that, it really could, and if it's that, it kind of sucks because this team is 3 or 4 plays. I don't think people understand how close they are, and the gravity of it, right? Like, look at what Buffalo is doing. Buffalo has one more year of Josh Allen before he at, a reasonably cost-controlled contract. And they understand that they were 13 seconds away from going to the AFC Championship game. And in my opinion, Buffalo and Kansas City last year were the 2 best teams in the NFL. I thought.
I'm just saying, if Eddie were the owner right here, he would have the urgency you're exemplifying right now. He would say, we're 2-3 plays away. Guys, the goal of the organization is to win the Super Bowl this year, make it happen. But Jed is more like, hey, we're doing things right. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. That's the difference between them.
I mean, yeah, again, $25.5 million, Grant. I cannot get past that number, $25.5 million. And my question is, and I understand, like, I keep going back.
How can you be the best team in the league when you're wasting that much money? How? That's my question.
Yes.
How can you be the best team in the league when you're wasting that money?
I'm asking the same question, Grant. And it goes back to, right, you said this is a symptom of Jed York, right? And if it is, again, there's no other way to say it because I'm just a fan. It sucks. Because the thing is, and this is a question I always ask, right? If they keep Garoppolo for another 2 weeks and they ultimately trade him, will that compensation be worth the wait? Is my question. Because if it's a day 3 pick, what do you think?
No, absolutely not.
If they get
even if it's a day 2 pick, even if it's a 3rd round pick, like, great. The only good player you've ever drafted in round 3 is Fred Warner. And then look at the cost of getting that 3rd round pick. You had to basically take yourself out of the market.
Even if it's a 3rd round pick, it's not. What do you mean? No, Carson Wentz went for 2 3rd-round picks, and he had a hell of a lot worse contract than Garoppolo and play that was even worse over the last 2 years. There's no way you can convince me a 3rd-round pick is that worth it. Yeah. No way.
Yeah. So let's answer some questions, and then we have a couple more topics. Voice Ad Agency says, I would trade Jimmy for a Happy Meal right now, even if it didn't have the toy clear that damn space.
Me too.
They still make Happy Meals? I didn't know that. I haven't had a Happy Meal in a long time. Yeah. What is in the Happy Meal? Like a double cheeseburger or regular?
I don't know. I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat Happy Meals.
Oh, there you go. Nathan says, I don't know, with Banana Hands and Lynch, I don't know what the hell Banana Hands and Lynch are doing. Why is Jimmy 2 picks still here? Heard rumors Vegas was making a strong push for Gilmore. Man, I admire Vegas, what they're doing. That Raiders team is not messing around. The Niners are the last team that like really takes the salary cap seriously. Everyone else is like, nah, we'll figure it out. Niners are like,
yeah,
can't afford it. Even though we're worth $4 billion, Connor says, is it possible they have a big free agent signing on hold, just waiting for the Jimmy tree to go through, i.e. Matthew, Gilmore, etc.? I mean, that would be great. I don't think so.
I mean, it would make sense, right? But I also,
That'd be wonderful.
I don't know. I don't understand Gilmore at this point, right? Because they just paid Ward, and they already have a very good cornerback on their roster. Who I would not understand having him not start. You extended Emmanuel Mosley last year. He played unbelievable when he was healthy last year. Why would
you'd
you
rather go after a D end? You'd rather go after a D end?
To me, the pass rusher is now what's going to change it, right? Because you kind of got in the corner. I would draft another one with one of your abundance of third round picks because they keep getting a lot of third round picks thanks to people getting hired like Martin Mayhew and Saleh and D'Amico Ryans. They'll get some more because D'Amico Ryans is certainly going to be a head coach very soon, especially with the way he's kicking ass. So I don't understand it.
David says, what if they have signings ready to go but don't want to say anything until they trade? This is the 49ers fan fantasy.
But who would it be? Who would it be?
What person is just like, oh, the Niners want me, but I got to wait 2 weeks before they trade Jimmy. And they might not trade Jimmy. And then I'd be screwed. Who's going to wait around for the Niners like that? You trust the Niners? Anything could happen. Doesn't work that way, I don't think. Jerry says we desperately need a right tackle. Collins can't have Trey's first year as a starter running for his life. If the Niners don't sign the right tackle, they got to draft one in round 2.
That's the other thing, right? Like this roster, even though we've talked ad nauseum throughout this show, it's a Super Bowl roster, all of that. They still have a couple of holes that they need to fix.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The right side of the offensive line currently is a question mark.
Yes.
In my opinion, the best move at left guard is draft another guard in the middle rounds and have him come in and compete with Aaron Banks, because again, you have to trust your draft and development and be cost effective at certain areas. So to me, that's the best move there. But the right side of the offensive line, because of the seriousness of McGlinchey's injury, is still a question mark. Who's going to start at safety next to Jimmy Ward is still a question mark. If K'Wan Williams, the reports are true that the Niners will not be bringing him back, who's going to replace him as their nickel is a big question mark, in my opinion. So it's not like this roster is just totally set in stone today, right? Like people are acting like, well, they could keep Garoppolo. They have no moves to make. They're the best roster in the NFL, and they did it with, it's like when people finish their tests early, like, oh, you took the entire time, you took all 45 minutes to take the test, but I got 100% and I took 30 minutes and left 15 minutes to do whatever to take the test. That's what this is like. Oh, our roster is perfect. It's set in stone. We need nothing. We'll sign a couple of special teamers. We'll sign a corner. Oh, now we signed the corner. We're good to go. And we have $25.5 million just here. You can do what you want with that. 12.7% of the cap. I mean, NFL, why do you guys take all your cap? We only need 87.3% of our cap to build the best roster.
We're that much better than the rest of the league. They're light years beyond the rest of the league. Light years. Official BNA Music 88 says the Niners went all in on special teams. It will help with field position, plus no punt return TD since 2011 or kick return.
Yeah, the returner they got has 11 fumbles in 4 years
and 0 touchdowns. And his longest return last year was like 40 yards. So is he even that good? I mean,
I'm more excited for Ray McCloud in this offense. I think as a gadget guy in this offense, I think Ray McCloud is going to kick some butt. Like I'm not unopposed to the signing, but this idea that he's just going to change their game as a returner the way Ted Ginn did, this isn't Devin Hester, this isn't Ted Ginn, and the not even Cordell Patterson. The forced fumbles last year is actually, I mean, Cordell Patterson might be the greatest kick returner in NFL history after Devin Hester. He's got numbers like that. So, and the 4 fumbles last year to me is actually extremely concerning. I don't know why it's not being talked about enough for a team that's historically conservative on special teams and looking for returners to not turn the ball over. Hence why Mo Sanu was catching fair catches for them at a point last year, and Trent Taylor returned punts for 3 years because he was excellent at catching them.
The first time he muffs a punt in practice, they bench him. In practice. OP, $5. Thank you very much. James Hennessy says a rookie quarterback contract should give urgency. Yeah, I think so. But the Niners are operating like it's 2007, putting him on the 3-year wait plan. Kent says, we're getting compared to the Cowboys, Grant, the NFL laughing their asses off too. If not for the owner, it would unlock the franchise. Yeah, the thing with Jed, though, is he's insecure and he wants to be like Eddie. So shame him. We all need to shame Eddie into doing the right thing because he might. I mean, excuse me, not Eddie. Jed. We have to put the pressure on him because he's not going anywhere. He's like,
Yeah.
he's not going anywhere. So you got to put the pressure on him. Use, shame, those,
One sec.
schoolyard tactics.
Exactly. And then some people in
Yes.
the comment section are thinking that I'm saying Ray McLeod is a bad player. I'm not saying bad. I'm just saying the fumbles are concerning. 11
Yes.
fumbles in 4 years. What do you want me to tell you? It's a statistic. It's a fact.
I think with the Niners, the Niners need someone to run that end around now that Deebo Samuel's a full-time running back. Sorry,
Yeah.
Deebo. Yeah.
I think he's going to kick ass on offense. On special teams, the fumbles, given again the conservatism in the fact that they don't want their special teams turning the ball over, that I don't think it's just a perfect, just Ray McLeod comes in, the synergy is perfect. Because if he fumbles, Kyle Shanahan will blow a gasket.
And honestly, if they had the game on the line and it was a close game in the fourth quarter and there was a punt return, they should just let Deebo do it every time. He's your best player. So great. But they should just let Deebo do it anytime they have a problem, because he has that Michael Jordan, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana competitive nature. Like, he literally almost dragged the Niners to the Super Bowl last year, but they didn't empower him at the end. Innovative Energy says, Elvish, nice do, bud. If we don't get solid vet additions to this team through free agency, count on this season being a letdown. Cut Jimmy Garoppolo, B-Wags, or Gilly. Have the Niners gotten better this offseason?
I don't know if you could say that, honestly.
They're about the same. I mean, J-Rod 5 says Jimmy is like the BMW of cars, good looking, but sucks and is expensive to have. I've never had a BMW.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going off the car analogy, I think a lot of people here, I've been on Twitter Spaces. I've been a frequent of Twitter Spaces the last 3 days, ranting daily. The funny thing is, I actually did make a car comparison to Garoppolo right now. The Niners are a team that, has a house payment due. And instead of selling the Lamborghini that they just have sitting inside, they're, cutting down how much they're eating. They're cutting. Everybody's like, wait. You don't need to sell the Lamborghini. Just buy a couple less meals. Just buy, a couple less cleaning materials. Just buy a couple less of your needs, and you could still get your house payment in, right?
And we're like, hey man, sell the Lambo, and they're like, what is the Lambo? How is this the Lambo's fault? The Lambo has been nothing but a good sport about the whole thing.
But that's the concept of saying Garoppolo isn't preventing them from making any moves. If they really wanted a guy, they could go sign him. Does that make sense? Because when you're making that type of decision, you have to factor in, is the roster / cap gymnastics worth signing the player? And if you don't feel for the long term of your future, getting Chandler Jones, but doing it by extending 2 different guys and restructuring a third is worth it, then you don't get Chandler Jones. Wait, but what if you could just pay Chandler Jones outright when you had the money available? I mean, this just doesn't make sense to me.
Jimmy's Jimmy's like a Lambo with like a Fiat engine, though. Like it's not going.
My point is that you have a clear way to clear the money. And you're talking about, doing all these other things when there's a very obvious way that you could make the house payment.
I just got obsessed with that comparison for a second. I liked it a lot. He is a Lambo. Because good looking, expensive, but really can't go more than 45 miles an hour. It's like, dude, can we get into 4th gear? No, I don't do that anymore. I had a bad experience one time in Miami.
You took it to the next level.
Yeah, we don't go fast anymore. We go really slow now.
I was even talking about Garoppolo as a player.
It's like, Jimmy, you don't even go on the freeway anymore. Why do we have this Lambo?
I was just talking about the fact that you have this golden asset
to
clear money, and you're just not using it.
Someone said Jimmy's a Kia Sorrento. Helix27 says, is it possible to trade Jimmy by switching a 3 or 4 round pick and that team cut him to avoid that $7 million hole? Yeah, man, can't. But then that team would get the $7.5 million, right? If you trade for him and cut him, then that team.
I'm not exactly sure. There's a lot of complicated things. I don't pretend to understand the salary cap as much.
Me neither.
Other people, there's a lot of complicated nuances with it that, unless I am sure about, I don't want to say anything different.